Greetings everybody. Let's analyze GBP CHF, and we are on the monthly chart as you guys can see. And on this particular monthly chart of GBP CHF, we can see that we had this very big M structure over here. Just bear with me. We had this very big M structure over here, which has a neckline more or less at this level over here, right? And we can see that the neckline has been broken to the bottom side, which means that at this point in time we would love to see price in the future head back to the neckline, and at the neckline of this particular M structure we will then look for potential selling opportunities, right? What I'm going to do now is add the neckline of that huge M structure, so just bear with me everybody. Let's see. And just to emphasize, just remember that necklines are an area and not so much an actual line. So we can say that this particular level is more or less the neckline of this huge M structure, as I've just said, right? So from here what I'm gonna do is head down to the weekly chart, and here we are on the weekly chart. And on the weekly chart we can see that price currently seems to be rejecting at this level over here, and it's indicating that we might potentially see price revert, right? Yeah, let's proceed. So from here what I'm going to do, guys, because remember on the monthly chart I said that we have this M structure which has a neckline at that point, and we want to see price set back to the neckline, and at that neckline is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, right? I just want to have a look in terms of whether that neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool. So just bear with me, guys, while I use this tool. Let's see Fibonacci. So there we go, guys. There we go. So we can see that, just bear with me, we can see that the neckline of this huge M structure actually aligns with the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, which adds as confluence in as far as looking for potential selling opportunities at the neckline goes, right? Having said that, we would need further confluence for why we should be looking for even more selling opportunities at the neckline of that M structure, right? So in regards to the weekly chart, I don't see much really, although I will just point out that on the weekly chart we have a lot of M structures. For example, we had one over here, it's an M structure. We had another one over here, it's an M structure. We had another one over here, right? Another one over here, right? And they all have necklines that I think were tested at one point or another. To add to this, we have another M structure rather here, which has a neckline at that point, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So from here what I'm gonna do is head down to the daily chart, and here we are on the daily chart. And the first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is add my daily channel. Excuse me. So there goes our daily channel. Let's see, how would I put my, or rather how would I add my daily channel? Let's have a look. I would add it in this manner actually. Let's have a look. Let's see, let me just zoom in a bit. Let's see. I would say that this is more or less my daily channel at this point in time. The reason why I'm putting it at this point, the reason I'm putting this particular line at this point and not at this point is because the current daily channel has not closed, or rather the current daily candlestick has not closed, right? That's the reason why I'm putting it at that point, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of GBP CHF? Another thing that I see that is also very much interesting is the fact that we have this candlestick over here. It is a bullish candlestick with a relatively small body and a long upper wick, which tells me that there's a lot of liquidity at that point, and that in the future price needs to head up to grab that liquidity, right? to add to that, guys, another thing that I see that is also very much important is the fact that we have, as I said, a smaller M structure over here. It's an M structure which has a first leg that is lower than the second leg, right? And the neckline of that M structure is at this region, more or less, right? So remember, guys, that I said that ideally we would love to see price head to this level because it is the neckline of that huge M structure that we spoke about on the daily chart. As much as I've said that, guys, what may actually happen is that price may head down to this level to test the neckline of this M structure and then only push further down to maybe this level again, right? Because it would then be a very strong level of support. So let's have a look. What I'm going to do is just add a neckline to that M structure, and I know that to some of you that pattern does not look like an M structure, but it is, guys. It's called an overextended M structure, and in this particular case the first leg of that M structure is lower than the second leg, right? And I think it'll be better visible as we head down to the smaller time frames, such as the H4 time frame, right? Then I'm going to utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool again. We just want to have a look and see if that neckline aligns with any key numbers, because what we're doing is trying to find confluence and further reasons for why, should price reach that level, we should be looking for potential selling opportunities, right? There goes the Fibonacci retracement tool, and we can see that the neckline doesn't really align with any of the key numbers that we have on this particular tool. That's fine. I'll just delete this tool for now, and from here what I'm gonna do is head down to the H4 chart. On the H4 chart, I'm just gonna fix my channel just to make sure that it is as accurate as can be, so just bear with me, everybody. Let's see, more or less. Yeah, there we go, right? What else do we see, guys, in regards to the GBP CHF chart? Remember, guys, on the daily chart I told you that we have an overextended M structure over here, and I said it has a neckline at that point, right? We saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline. However, it didn't really quite get to the actual neckline to test it, and should it have tested the neckline, we would have looked for potential selling opportunities at that point. Having said that, it is not too late, because what may actually happen is price may do this and then head back to the neckline to test it, and at that point we might potentially see price push further down, as I said, and to around this level over here, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the H4 chart of GBP CHF? At this point I don't see much. I just want to make this neckline slightly bigger. There we go, right? Actually, guys, now that we've made the neckline slightly bigger, I think it's safe to say that the neckline indeed came back to the neckline to test it, and that is because the neckline, as I've said, is not a line, it's an area. So we can say that price came back to the neckline to test it, and at that point we should have potentially looked for selling opportunities. However, having said that, I'm not quite happy with the way in which the neckline has been tested, and that is because price tested the neckline and quickly ran off down, right, without rather giving us a proper entry. At this point in time, I would not be looking for a sell at this point, because that means I would have to put my stop loss just above that neckline, and that is too far in my humble opinion, right? So I would not be selling at this point. I would love to see price come back to the neckline again, because the neckline is a strong level of resistance, and at this point I would then potentially look for a selling opportunity. I hope what I've said is not too confusing. All I'm saying is that I would like my entry and my stop loss to not be too far from each other, right? Just to minimize my risk in as far as my entries go, right? At this point I don't see anything further. Let me try to go back, or rather go down to the H1 chart. Let's see. On the H1 chart we can see that as much as on the H4 chart we had this M structure that I spoke about, on the H1 chart we have a W structure over here. It's also an overextended W structure where the first leg is lower than the second leg, right? And it has a neckline at that point, which is at this level over here, right? Right. So what else do we see? In fact, let me just add a neckline to that level. Let's see. There goes my neckline, more or less, right? Let's have a look. So what else do we see, guys? I really don't see much at this point in time, and I don't see any buying or selling opportunities. And as I said, myself personally, I would love to see price head up to this level, right? Yes, it touched the level somewhat, but I'm not happy because if you go back to the H4 chart, the candlestick that touched that level quickly went down, right? And as I said, I would not be looking for a sell opportunity at this level, because it means my stop loss would have to be there and my take profit would be here. And if you look at the distance between here and the distance between here and here, in my humble opinion, it would not make any sense to be selling at this point, only to have your take profit at this point and your stop loss at that point, right? So the reward to ratio there looks like 1-to-1 more or less, and in my humble opinion, I wouldn't go for that. So as I said, guys, I would wait for price to move further up to around this box, and in that box more or less I would then look for potential selling opportunities. And if I do find any, my take profit will be my stop loss would be a very tight one, and it will be just above, and my take profit will be this level over here, more or less, right? That is it, guys, and as far as my analysis goes, I hope that it makes sense, right? Just before we close, I just also want to mention that as much as I'm saying that my take profit will be here, just also bear in mind that we have this W structure that I spoke about, which has a neckline at that point, right? And I said to you guys that when it comes to W structures, rather, once price is broken to the upside of that neckline, what normally happens is price moves back to the neckline to test it, and at this point we look for potential buying opportunities. So as much as I'm saying that my take profit should be here, just bear with me, at this level price may actually push this level and then push up, so just keep that in the back of your mind. And that is because we have a W structure over here which has a neckline at that point. So that is it as far as my analysis goes. I hope that it makes sense, and peace out, everybody.